Okay, everyone. I am here with Mike Morawski. Hey, Mike.
Hey Jen, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. So, we've been talking a lot about real estate agents and their kind of exit plan or their retirement plan. And one of the things that I came to realize is a lot of real estate agents, they do not invest in real estate. And which makes me insane, but we'll table that for a minute. But your book, The Exit Plan, really focuses on what is the plan for when you invest in real estate. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that. But before we do, can you give the audience a little bit of a background on yourself?
Yeah. So I've been in real estate for 30 years. I
Just a few
started out,
years.
yeah, just a
30.
little time,
Yeah.
right? Three decades. Um, so here, I have to make a comment before I even do this. Okay, I followed a trainer for years. I really believe in coaching and training, and I've
Yeah.
been coached for 25 years. And I followed a trainer for years who used to say, buy your best listing every quarter.
Oh, I
So,
love that
so
advice.
I am frustrated just like you are with people that don't buy real estate. They try to sell it, but how can you sell something you don't own or you don't buy into? Buy your best listing every quarter.
Yeah. No, that's so great. Well, right now I can't really afford my listings because everything's I've been trying to buy property.
Yeah, but go buy something. And you know what? The other thing he used to say is when you need money, go buy one of your listings because you get paid a commission.
That's so funny.
I
That's
know.
true.
I used to laugh about that stuff, but it's so true too,
Yeah.
right? So, I've been in the real estate business for 30 years. I
Mhm,
started out as a sales agent.
mhm.
In my first 8 months, I sold 78 houses
Great.
because I believe success leaves clues.
Yep.
And I went to a guy and I said, hey, how do I do this? And he made me a cassette tape and I listened to it over and over and over again. And I equate that to like a
Do you
podcast
want
today,
to
right?
for the audience, do you want to share what a cassette tape is? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
We're not that old, Jennifer.
I mean, I I know what a cassette tape is, but like barely.
Yeah, so it's this little thing that's got two little holes in it. You put on a thing but here's it's even more important is the there used to be a thing that you could record on to make to
Yeah, make
record
them.
on the tape, right?
Right.
I don't think you can find one of those today. You
I'm
could
sure.
probably play a cassette tape somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's funny. But yeah, I sold residential real estate for a number of years. I built a team. We sold over 125 homes a year.
Nice.
And in 2005, I saw the market starting to soften. And I didn't really know what that meant or what the impact was going to be,
Mhm,
but I saw the market starting to soften. And I said, well, I'm going to have to go do something else.
mhm.
Um, so I always wanted to be in the apartment business. And I watched a large apartment syndicator where I lived build a business. 4 high school teachers went out, they raised a little bit of money, bought a small 4-unit apartment building, and today they're the largest REIT uh, in the
Wow.
world.
Wow.
So, it's amazing how you can scale the multifamily business or scale the real estate business.
Mhm.
So I opened a small private equity firm
Okay.
and I raised $18 million in 30 months. I
That's not
brought,
chump change.
yeah. Did you say Trump change?
You're right, exactly. Oh, gee.
It might be his change.
It might be.
I raised $18 million in 30 months, bought $60 million worth of real estate, and it was about 4,000 apartments in
It
5 different states.
just for people to know, that's called leverage.
Yes, it's
Yes.
called leverage.
You have 18,
Um,
you bought 60. Good.
right,
Okay.
right. And it's actually called over leveraged because
Oh,
I
uh-oh. It's 2008.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
throwing money at you and I was only putting 10 to 15% down on deals and
Mhm.
don't ever do that. So I just will warn people, don't ever do that. You know,
Yeah.
it causes instability in a business.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in real estate is cyclical, right? So like in the previous I guess you had been in real estate how long prior to that? 10 years?
Let's see. Yeah, about 10 years.
So it hadn't ever softened like that before. So you didn't know.
No, but remember, before that, I've been in a construction business, did a bunch of rehabs.
Okay.
So I kind of have been involved in real estate. My dad said years ago, hey, if you ever go into business for yourself, food, shelter, or clothing. And I picked shelter, right?
Yeah.
Construction, real estate
Yeah.
has really never failed me. And so I've seen market corrections, right? So the
Mhm.
market's shifted 10%, and a recession only typically lasts 17, 18 months. Well, damn, nobody thought this thing was going to last 8 years
Right.
and be a 40% decline in the
Right.
marketplace.
I mean, when that was happening, I just had gotten into real estate as a wholesaler, and we were
Mhm.
wholesaling short sales. And I can't tell you the number of investor portfolios we were short selling. It was insane. Luckily for me, that's how I picked up a handful of properties, and that's how I started my career because I got them really cheap.
Yeah,
But I felt bad for them. But I mean, it's exactly what you said. It was just over leverage. But in this case, a lot of the people were pulling the equity they had out of their investments to buy other investments. So it wasn't because they only put like 10% down necessarily. They were just like trying to multiply their money too quickly. And
right.
then it softened. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So talk to me about, so the whole book is about knowing what your exit plan is prior to like doing the business and prior to like making your first purchase. Tell us about it a little bit.
Yeah. So you know what? Years ago, I read a book by Stephen Covey called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah, it's a good book.
And the second chapter in that book is titled Begin with the End in Mind.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that always stuck with me.
Mhm.
So, I've always tried to think about what the end result was, right?
Mhm.
So, I could tell you a couple stories. Here's a quick story is I fly into Nashville one day and I'm going to drive down from Nashville to Huntsville and look at some
Alabama.
assets. Yeah.
Okay.
It's only about a 90-minute drive, but it was cheap to fly into Nashville. And I have this thought on the plane. I think, God, how much money do I make on a door every time, after all the smoke clears? So all the bills are paid, I'm paid, my partner's paid.
Mhm.
And so I call my partner and I said, hey, listen, how much money do we make on every door? Because I knew where I wanted to be, right? And I
Yeah.
knew that I wanted to be able to make $1 million a year cash flow and sell my business and get out of it.
Right.
And so he said, I'll call you back in 10 minutes.
Okay.
And he calls me back, and the number was like $9.95, right? And I said, okay, so we need to have 10,000 units.
Right.
10,000 units gives us $1.2 million a year in cash flow after we get paid, after we take our
Oh, well then
profit,
that's good.
after,
Okay. Okay, great.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's a huge number
Yeah.
when you back into it, but that's starting with the end in mind. So I had this vision and had this plan, right? So I've always kind of had that. So over the years, and I make this quote in the book, over the years, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaching and training and books and tapes.
Mhm.
And I've always kind of left empty, feeling like I was missing something,
Yeah.
right? And listen, there's some really great trainers out there.
Mhm.
And um, they teach great things, but they always teach us how to find a deal, how to get in a deal, how to manage a deal.
Not get
Nobody
out.
ever talks about how to get out or when to get out.
Well, and we're seeing that in the real estate industry. I mean, just like we had mentioned in the beginning, it's like if agents, real estate agents built their business, even residential agents built their business with the end in mind, would you run it differently? So like for you, if you're an investor and everybody, I think you should be, if you're in real estate, if I know that in 5 years I want to retire out of residential real estate, how many investment properties with the cash flow do I need to have and back into it, right? Or else you
Right.
would never know what a good deal is.
Right. Exactly. You have to experience it to know it, right?
Right,
Because then you can sell it, right?
right,
And I've sold hundreds of investment deals over the years to investors because they knew I knew it, right?
right. Exactly.
So
So do you are a trainer yourself. And so is that what you're basically training, is showing people how to do this?
how to invest in real estate,
Yeah.
how to invest in multifamily and scale your business. I want to teach people how to scale their business,
Hmm.
but live a balanced quality lifestyle.
Hmm.
It's about creating a short-term cash flow and long-term wealth.
Yeah.
And how do I get somebody there?
Nice.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people want to come in the real estate business and be an investor because it's sexy today, right? But you know, can we do it the right way? And can we teach people the right way? So
Well,
so
first
that's
they
my
have to know math.
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 Yeah,
I mean, whenever
yeah.
you're in a kid in school and you're like, we're never going to use math. Oh my gosh, we
Right.
use math all the time. You know,
Oh, I remember being in school going, God, I'll never use this
I
stuff.
know. And now look
But,
at you.
well, here, you want to hear something even funnier? Here's what I
Yeah.
remember is I can remember when email first came out.
Uh huh.
And I'm in my office, and my assistant was sitting out in the outside my office door in a cubicle outside, and I said, Sarah, I'll never use this. She goes, yes, you will. Figure it out. And she was right.
She was right. That's why you have an assistant, somebody to like not cater to your baby, like your,
Right.
what I mean? That's so
Right.
funny. So if people are interested, the coaching company is called My Core Intentions,
Right.
correct? Is that the website too?
Yeah, go to mycoreintentions.com,
Okay.
and there's a lot of tons of free resources, different strategies and things like that. And you can download a copy of my book. My book is called Exit Plan,
Mhm.
Your Complete Guide to Multifamily Investing and Why You Need an Exit Plan Before You Buy. So, and you can download a copy there.
Cool.
And if you're like me though, and you like a book and you like to highlight, and I know you like to listen to
I
books,
like to
but
listen. Yeah.
yeah,
That's okay.
it's not out on audio yet. But if you want to, if you're like me, you want to highlight it or dog ear it and write in the margins, you can buy one there too.
Yeah. Well, it's a
You
lot
can,
of good. I mean, I have it as the book, a book
yeah,
copy of it. Yes. So it is a lot of good information of stuff. Just like the numbers wise, like what are you looking for, how to get the return on investment, things to think
right.
about, stuff like that. So
Well,
what is a tip that you could give real estate agents? Like I'm a residential agent and let's say I don't invest right now. Where
okay.
would I start?
Investing.
Hmm. Or like,
Okay.
what would I need to think about in order to get started? Or like, how do I start? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Think about what you want to accomplish. Where
Yeah.
do you want to be?
The end.
Are you, yeah, are you in real estate just because you want to buy a new sofa this year or take another vacation, or are
Right.
you in real estate because you want to design a life for yourself?
I mean,
Because
we
I
have
think,
such a unique opportunity,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And we're in a time right now where a lot of people think that the real estate business is easy, and
Hmm.
they're just making money because it's a seller's market. And whenever you're in a seller's market, people have this perceived notion that the business is easy.
Hmm.
Remember this, that the business won't always be like this,
Right.
that there is going to be the time that you're going to need to roll up your sleeves and work.
Hmm.
And if you can work now when the business is easy and increase and scale your business, can you imagine where your
Oh,
business will be when it's hard,
right.
right? When it switches, because
Yeah,
it will switch.
it will.
We're
It always does. I mean,
right.
you know, what do they say? There's only a few things you can count on, and it's definitely like death, taxes, and the real estate market switch.
Going back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What
And
goes up must come down.
I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. We were talking about cap rates, and cap
Yeah.
rates is a way to measure, your investment
Yes.
returns, right?
Hmm.
And cap rates today are so compressed, which means values are so high.
Yeah.
And I said, they're going to change.
Yep.
No, no, no. I said, they're going to
Yeah,
change.
they
You
will.
watch what happens, right? You're going to start to see inflation. Interest rates are going to come up. The whole world's going to change. I'm not an economist. I
Yeah.
just know what I've experienced
Right.
and what I've seen happen over the years, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's definitely cyclical. You also have two podcasts that focus on this too. What are those?
yeah. So, one is called Insider Secrets. Insider Secrets, I interview every week and we drop it on Tuesdays. Somebody who is more experienced than I am.
Mhm.
I've been in the business 30 years and I only know a little bit, but there's people out there that know a hell of a lot more than I do.
Awesome.
So I bring them on the show and we talk multifamily or we talk real estate investing. sales, you know, because listen, you got to be a great salesperson.
Yeah.
And how do you get to be a great salesperson? I think real estate is the best vehicle to do that in.
Yeah, for sure.
And then my Saturday one is a little bit more raw and unscripted. We bring a guest on. I have a partner or co-host that I do that show with. We call him Moose. He's an ex-professional hockey player, and we have about 50 years of real estate experience between
Nice.
the two of us. And on Saturday morning, we always bother him because he's been out too late on Friday night, uh, and we just have a good time and talk real estate, you know. And so what we'll always do is we look at like what some of the headlines are that week, what
Mhm.
happened that week. We
Yeah.
talk about that, and
Nice.
we always wind up in some rabbit hole. But we're live on Facebook, live on Clubhouse, and live on Zoom on Saturday morning. So
Cool. I think too, one of the great strategies that the book does talk about that I don't think gets enough attention is buying property in the self-directed IRA.
yeah, I think God, I just had this conversation with somebody about they wanted to buy real estate,
Yeah.
and they said, "Man, I don't have any money." I said, "Well, I said you've had a couple of jobs. You've got history of a couple jobs." I said, "Do you have any old IRAs or 401ks?" He goes, "Yeah. Why do you ask?" I said, "Because you could take those,
Yep.
you can roll them over into a self-directed IRA account, and you can use that for your down payment." He goes,
Hmm.
"Yeah, but I don't have a lot of money." So here's what I said. I said, "Look, here's a strategy." I said, "You haven't owned a house in a number of years.
Hmm.
So you could get an FHA mortgage. You
Hmm.
buy a 2 unit, a 3 unit, a
Right.
4 unit, small
I think up to
multifamily
four
deal."
for FHA, a home,
Right.
if you're going to live
Ex-
there. Yeah.
That's residential. You
Residential. Right.
use your self-directed IRA to buy that, use
Hmm.
your for your down payment,
Hmm.
do an FHA mortgage.
So 3.5%, not
Right.
much.
Right.
Right.
And you can scale your business from there. So there are some stipulations about using a self-directed IRA, but there are ways to do your initial earnest
Mhm.
money and down payments on your investments
Right.
that you're going to live in, because there's a lot of grant money out there and
Yes.
there's a lot
True.
of opportunity. And if you like creative financing, and I think you kind of come from this world of creative financing,
Yeah.
being an old wholesaler, right?
Hmm.
Um, is ask the seller to participate.
Right.
So
Now, yeah, and that's going to be like, it's definitely going to be property specific and like based on the relationship. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
sometimes, because, yeah, whatever, we can go down a rabbit hole, but like with the interest rates being what they are now, it's a little bit more difficult. But
right, right,
sometimes the owner they don't want to sell the property outright because it will cause them a huge tax consequence. They would rather receive their payments annually over time to mitigate their, their tax liability. So like,
right,
yeah,
right.
there's a lot that can be done. I want to encourage everybody to listen to your shows, your podcast, and we'll put the links here in the YouTube channel, and then
Yep,
also a link to the My Core Intentions if they're looking for your book or they want to do training, coaching with
right,
you. Hmm.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Email me directly if you have questions. If I can help, I certainly would try and do that. If I'm not a fit for you, we'll try and find you somebody who is. So,
Yeah, cool. What's your email?
Mike at mycoreintentions.com.
Okay, is that the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, and it's right. It comes right to me. So why send somebody to info when they can come right to me, right?
Exactly. That makes sense. And you're all over social media too. So you're
I'm
not very
all over.
difficult to find. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Well, I really appreciate you being on. I know this topic can be a little difficult for residential agents, but what I'm hoping for is that it opens their mind to the possibilities of using their real estate business as a vehicle to invest in their future. And I think you offer a lot of great strategies for them to do that. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Mike.
Hey, Jennifer, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You too.